Every bloodline I had gone. Now it's primordial world human. What kind of race is that? And the primordial world body? What kind of body is it this time? Meng Lei rubbed his temples as he felt a headache. The system probably would not come up with any answers, so he could only leave his questions aside. Not going to lie, this body is getting stronger. Meng Lei clenched his fist and felt an endless barrage of power running within. He was amazed. This time, it was not an illusion whenever his strength grew exponentially anymore. It was now truly endless and boundless as Meng Lei finally possessed true infinite power. One punch could not just destroy an entire continent. It was not a problem for him to smash a high-end existential plane like the Thunderbolt Divine Realm into smithereens. That was not an illusion too. After assimilating all 10 origin divine bodies, it actually became a primordial world body. That was unexpected, but it's good news anyway. Meng Lei was in a good mood. What else could be happier than turning his body into a primordial world body? Meng Lei, what's wrong? Moro's question rang in his ears. How did your divine body become so strong that even I got a little fearful? And why couldn't I feel the aura of your origin divine body anymore? What happened to you exactly? That's a rather complex story. Meng Lei shook his head. Have you heard of the primordial world body? Never heard of it. Moro shook his head slightly. Meng Lei was not surprised. Well, Moro, you might not believe this, but right after I assimilated the dark origin divine body, the 10 major types of origin divine bodies assimilated to become an entirely new form known as the primordial world body. Really? Moro was stunned. That's right.
Meng Lei nodded heavily.
The assimilation of the 10 major types of origin divine bodies would become a primordial world body? Moro muttered. Perhaps it means that the 10 major power of origins can be assimilated to become the power of primordial world? That's exactly what I'm thinking.
Meng Lei nodded.
After assimilating the 10 power of origins, it did turn into a new grayish substance, and my divine body's composition is completely made up of this grayish substance. As he said that, Meng Lei opened up his palm as a seemingly simple and unadorned grayish energy appeared. So this is that new substance? Moro stared at the grayish energy closely and murmured. Looks normal and insignificant to me. How can it be so powerful? With that in mind, Moro released his divine cognition as he attempted to wrap in the gray energy to analyze its composition. However, once it came into contact with the gray energy, he felt that his divine cognition quickly melted as if an ice cube met lava. Ugh! Darn it! Moro cried as he removed his divine cognition while he looked at the gray energy with terror in his eyes. How did this happen? My divine spirit had gone through the great reincarnation and destruction process and possessed the special attribute of immortality. How could this gray energy dissolve away my divine spirit? Oh, I forgot to remind you, Moro. Meng Lei scratched his head and said with some embarrassment, this kind of substance can even break down supreme laws of nature chains and power of supreme laws of nature. What? Moro was stunned once again. It's true. Meng Lei let out a breath and extended his left arm. He activated the time-based laws of nature chain and brought the warm golden chain toward the gray substance. In the next moment, an amazing scene occurred. The time-based laws of nature chain that Moro had dubbed as an undying substance dissolved silently once it contacted the gray substance. Meng Lei kept on extending the chain as it continued to dissolve until there was nothing left. The gray substance remained to hover on his palm. It seemed as normal as it was, unadorned, harmless, insignificant.
Dissolved?
The time-based laws of nature have dissolved? What the? How's that even possible? Just how? The time-based laws of nature was an undying substance. How could it be dissolved like this? Moro gasped as the scene he witnessed here was way beyond his knowledge on the undying substance. The supreme laws of nature chain and the power of supreme laws of nature were undying substances, after all. What was an undying substance? It could never deplete, disappear, erode, or be destroyed even if it was the great reincarnation and destruction process. Yet what had just happened? The time-based laws of nature getting destroyed was unheard of, so Moro could not help but become greatly stunned. If I'm not wrong, this kind of gray substance must be something more advanced than the supreme laws of nature. Meng Lei gave his verdict. That's the only possibility, Moro muttered. But what kind of energy is this? Who knows? Meng Lei shook his head slightly. For now, we'll call it power of the primordial world. Power of the primordial world. Moro had a complex look on his face. So, what will be your next move? Let's go to the supreme celestial realm to take care of those pesky bugs first. A glint flashed across Meng Lei's eyes.
No.
Moro did not think twice to stop Meng Lei. The supreme celestial realm is ruled by the 3 juggernauts, where they can maximize their full power. I strongly advise against the idea of entering the supreme divine realm before you comprehend the Genesis laws of nature. The corner of Meng Lei's mouth quirked up slightly. Moro, I would have followed your advice if it's in the past. But now, there's no need for such a cowardly move. You mean? Moro looked at Meng Lei in astonishment. You'll see right away. Meng Lei gave an odd smile before teleporting out of the Thunderbolt divine realm into the void, which was millions of light-years away. Moro was in utter shock. You managed to leave the Thunderbolt divine realm just like that? How did you do that? Well, Moro, you might not believe this. Meng Lei gave a faint smile. I have a feeling that the entire Thunderbolt divine realm— wait, no, not just that. The entire universe has become my domain. Meng Lei teleported a few more times to travel countless light-years as he arrived before the Supreme Celestial Realm. The enormous Supreme Celestial Realm was like a huge space battleship that floated in the void, surrounded by innumerable meteors and floating continents. Under the gravity of the Supreme Celestial Realm, these countless meteors and floating continents orbited around the Supreme Celestial Realm in a dense formation. We're in the Supreme Celestial Realm already? Moro was stunned till he got a little numb. Terrifying. This is too terrifying. That's nothing compared to what's next. Meng Lei chuckled before he suddenly gave a punch to the dimensional wall of the Supreme Celestial Realm. A gray aura shot off his fist with a loud blast and landed on the dimensional wall. Buzz! The strike blasted a huge hole in the dimensional wall while the gray aura continued to spread throughout the wall. The sturdy dimensional wall disintegrated quickly like how snow melted when one poured boiling water. In the end, nothing was left of the wall. For a while, the hole became larger and larger, expanding tens of thousands of light-years away, forming a huge black hole. This black hole was like a giant scar on the surface of the Supreme Celestial Realm. It was obvious and jarring. The battle in the Earth Divine Realm had nearly scared the living daylights out of the Life Dominus. When she returned to the Life Shrine, she had casually left behind some instructions and immediately entered seclusion. She wanted to comprehend the supreme laws of nature further and become even stronger so that she would be able to respond to Meng Lei's revenge anytime. She believed that Meng Lei would never let matters rest. Boom, boom, boom. At this exact moment, a series of booms suddenly traveled over from the sky, awakening the Life Dominus with a start. She lifted her head in surprise to see that a black hole, a gigantic black hole that was rapidly increasing in size and spreading, had formed in the sky a great distance away. What happened over there? The Life Dominus expression changed dramatically. She hurriedly flew out of the shrine and looked into the distance with the help of the Celestial Realm's power. What entered her sight was the Supreme Celestial Realm currently under fierce attack. The attacks had even gone beyond the Celestial Realm's dimensional wall's endurance capacity, causing the dimensional walls to be swiftly destroyed. This greatly astonished the Life Dominus. As a supreme existential plane that surpassed even high-end existential planes, the Celestial Realm boasted a stable dimension, where its dimensional walls were incredibly tough and durable. It was very difficult for juggernauts like her to deal large-scale damage to the Celestial Realm's dimensional walls even if they were to borrow the Celestial Realm's power. Yet large expanses of dimensional walls were being destroyed and disappearing into nothingness. The Life Dominus couldn't even imagine just what kind of intense attacks the Celestial Realm must currently be under in order for them to deal such an extent of damage to the dimensional walls. Who is it? Who exactly is attacking the celestial realm's dimensional walls? Could it be Menglei? No, that's impossible. He's not that strong. In that case, who exactly could it be? The look on the Life Dominus face was rather volatile, changing from time to time. Had it been any other time, she would have charged over a long time ago if anyone dared to make any trouble in the celestial realm. But this time, the Life Dominus was hesitating. The other party was unimaginably strong. She didn't dare to take any risks with her life at stake. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. 10 figures appeared one after another at this point. They were none other than the 10 chief gods under the Life Dominus command. There were a total of 44 chief gods in the celestial realm, with 10 under each of the 4 juggernauts and the remaining 4 not under anyone's command. Oh, great Juggernaut! Fear, alarm, and anxiety filled the 10 chief gods' eyes. All of them had become fearful and jittery ever since the battle in the Earth Divine Realm. Now that the celestial realm's dimensional walls had come under such attacks, how could they possibly not panic? Oh Juggernaut, it must be Menglei. He must be the one who's attacking the celestial realm's dimensional walls. He's clearly trying to destroy the celestial realm by doing that. What should we do? Oh Juggernaut, hurry and think of something. The consequences would be unthinkable if he really destroys the celestial realm. Oh Juggernaut, shut up all of you. The Life Dominus had a terribly awful look on her face. She barked grimly. Let's go to the Destruction Dominus and the Death Dominus first. We'll deal with those powerful enemies together after that. Whoosh! Someone teleported over at this point. The chief gods quickly turned over to the newcomer, upon which looks of joy immediately came over their faces. They chorused, "Greetings, Lord Death Dominus." The Life Dominus heaved a sigh of relief right away at the sight of the newcomer. She said, "You're here, Hades." "Ma'am." The newcomer looked haggard and withered and was deathly pale. An aura of death also circled all around him. It was none other than the Death Dominus, one of the 3 great juggernauts. His gaze swept across the 10 chief gods before he subsequently looked at the Life Dominus. His voice was hoarse and sharp as he said, "Is Desceril not here yet?" "He's not there." "No, he isn't," replied the Life Dominus with a shake of her head. "Ma'am." The Death Dominus made a casual sound of acknowledgement. The Life Dominus nodded slightly. Then, the puzzled Life Dominus asked, "Why did you come by yourself, Hades? Where are the 10 chief gods under your command?" "Them? They're all dead," replied the Death Dominus emotionlessly. "They're dead." Huge jolts went through the Life Dominus and the 10 chief gods. Looks of incredulity filled their eyes. "What did you say, Hades? The 10 chief gods under your command are dead? How can that be? How did they die? It can't be that Menglei has killed them." "No, Menglei didn't kill them." The Death Dominus shook his head. "I did." "Why you killed them?" The Life Dominus and the 10 chief gods' expressions changed drastically. The Life Dominus shouted fiercely, "Why did you do that, Hades? If they didn't die, then I would have to." The Death Dominus spoke indifferently and apathetically, as if he was just talking about something that wasn't even worth a mention. He said, "Now that a freak like Menglei has been born in this universe, we, the 3 juggernauts, are no match for him at all. I can only do my best to strengthen myself so that I can deal with him." "So, you decided to kill the 10 chief gods under your command?" The Life Dominus had an awful look on her face. She knew why Hades had done something like that, of course. Hades must have killed the 10 chief gods under his command, taken their chief god divine cores, and then assimilated them to strengthen himself. Indeed, this was certainly a shortcut to quickly strengthen himself because the more chief god divine cores he assimilated, the stronger Hades' control over the supreme celestial realm would become. By borrowing the celestial realm's power, Hades' combat strength would increase rapidly. There was no doubt about that. But how could Hades bring himself to do that? Those 10 chief gods were already Hades followers countless years ago, all trusted subordinates of his. How could he bring himself to do that? "You're out of your mind, Hades." The Life Dominus gnashed her teeth in anger. "Everything is for the sake of dealing with Menglei." The Death Dominus remained apathetic as he said, Menglei will eventually kill us all if we cannot fight back against him. Since we have to die sooner or later anyway, then why not let me kill them and strengthen myself instead? The Life Dominus was at a loss for words. What he says makes so much sense that I'm actually freaking lost for words. Take a look for yourself. Things have developed just like I expected. Menglei has indeed come. And on top of that, he's become even stronger than before. The Death Dominus gazed into the far distance at the constantly enlarging black hole. He said, "We have to stop him. Thus, I need to gain even more power." The Life Dominus suddenly had a bad feeling. She asked, "What are you intending to do, Hades?" "Not much. Just borrowing their chief god divine cores for a quick use." The Death Dominus turned to the 10 chief gods with a look of absolute indifference on his deathly pale countenance. Then, he raised his right hand and made a light grabbing motion. Boom! A white bone palm suddenly appeared and grabbed at the 10 chief gods. Damn it! Spare us, Juggernaut. Run! Upon hearing what the Death Dominus said and subsequently seeing the bone claw that suddenly attacked them, the 10 chief gods under the Life Dominus command were frightened out of their wits. They ran at once, only to discover to their horror at the next moment that they had been completely trapped to the spot. The Celestial Realm's power. This is the Celestial Realm's power. The 10 chief gods knew what kind of power it was that was trapping them. They hastily activated their chief god divine cores to mobilize the Celestial Realm's power in an attempt to escape. But what they couldn't accept was that the Celestial Realm power imprisoning them was far stronger than what they could mobilize. They were still immobile. "Stop your futile struggles," the Death Dominus said apathetically. "You can't run from me. Help! Oh Juggernaut, save us." Terrified, the 10 chief gods begged the Life Dominus for help. They could only pin their hopes on the Life Dominus at this point. She was the only one that could save them now. "Stop it, Hades!" The Life Dominus let out a fierce shout. She wanted to disperse the Celestial Realm power that was imprisoning the 10 chief gods. But what astonished her was that she had actually failed. How can this be? The Life Dominus tried once more, but it ended in failure again. "I forgot to tell you something. Not only have I killed the 10 chief gods under my command, but I've also killed the 20 chief gods under the Space Dominus and the Destruction Dominus command, as well as those 3 that are not under anyone," the Death Dominus said dispassionately. "In other words, I've already assimilated 33 chief god divine cores, and I've reached an unprecedented level of control over the Celestial Realm." 33 chief god divine cores. The Life Dominus almost lost her control over her bladder and wet herself in fear the moment she heard what the Death Dominus said. 33 chief god divine cores. What kind of concept was that? Legend had it that one could rival a supreme god just by assimilating 10 chief god divine cores from high-end existential planes. In that case, now that the Death Dominus had assimilated 33 from the supreme celestial realm, how strong must he have become? Boom! The bone claw instantly engulfed the 10 chief gods and thoroughly destroyed them in one move. Only 10 chief god divine cores remained at the spot where they had previously been. At the sight, the Death Dominus couldn't help but reveal a hint of a smile. Once he assimilated these 10 chief god divine cores, he'd have assimilated a total of 43 chief god divine cores. When that happened, his combat strength would reach an incredible stage. Menglei, what was there to fear about him? Whoosh! Just as the Death Dominus was about to grab at the 10 chief god divine cores, the Life Dominus also moved. She teleported to the area right in front of the 10 chief god divine cores. "Stop, you cheap slave girl!" The Death Dominus expression changed at once. Powerful waves of celestial realm power emerged from him and went crushing toward the Life Dominus at once. He was dead set on taking those 10 chief god divine cores, so how could he possibly allow the Life Dominus to take them? Boom! As though they were torrential tidal waves, surging waves of celestial realm power attacked the Life Dominus in an instant, pouring down onto her all at once. The Life Dominus let out a cry and coughed up a mouthful of blood. The celestial realm power imprisoned her to the spot right away, and her face turned deathly pale. Humph! The Death Dominus caught the 10 chief god divine cores in his hand and gazed coldly at the Life Dominus. He said, That was a nice idea, cheap slave girl. It's just a shame that you're too weak. Hades. The life dominus glared furiously at the death dominus, her expression one of savagery. As a juggernaut, you're too foolish. As the death dominus erased the chief god divine spirits inside the divine cores, he also said apathetically, to think you're not even trying to strengthen yourself when we're already in such a crisis. On top of that, you were even dreaming of protecting the chief gods under your command. There isn't any juggernaut who's more foolish than you. What do you want, Hades? Bellowed the life dominus. Why bother asking when you already know the answer? The death dominus let out an icy snort and began to assimilate the 10 chief god divine cores. It was very hard for ordinary deities to assimilate chief god divine cores. They needed a very long time to do it, such as Pohaman and the others. However, it was very easy for the death dominus to do so, after dripping his blood onto the chief god divine cores to claim ownership over them. He stored them in his sea of consciousness one by one and successfully refined them. Boom! In the instant that the 10 chief god divine cores were successfully assimilated into his body, not only did the death dominus force of presence not become any stronger, but it even became barely discernible as though it wasn't even there at all. Yet the life dominus face turned even paler at the sight. In this instant, she felt as if the Hades currently standing in front of her had already merged with the entire supreme celestial realm. It was as if Hades was the supreme celestial realm itself, and the supreme celestial realm was Hades himself. The life dominus knew that this was because Hades had assimilated too many chief god divine cores. It was to the extent that he had almost fully refined the whole supreme celestial realm. This is exactly the feeling. A hint of revelry appeared on Hades' face as he took in the sensation of the omnipresent celestial realm power. I feel even more like I'm about to become one with the supreme celestial realm now. Of course, I still need the last 4 chief god divine cores if I really want to become one with the celestial realm. Hades turned to the life dominus and said, on account of how we're both juggernauts, why don't you hand over your chief god divine core yourself? I can spare your life. Kill me if you're that capable, Hades. The life dominus voice was sharp and shrill as she said, ha ha ha. You can't kill me. My divine spirit was modified by eternal energy a long time ago. It is immortal and indestructible and will forever exist. You can't kill me at all. I certainly can't. But I can seal you for eternity. The death dominus snorted coldly and reached out at once to gouge out the life dominus chief god divine core. Unexpectedly, it was right at this moment that a series of claps suddenly rang out beside his ear. Tisk tsk. I didn't expect that I would be in time to watch an entertaining show of people massacring one another. Looks like I'm not too late. Meng Lei. The expression of the life dominus changed dramatically. It's you. The death dominus raised an eyebrow. Little fellow, how bold of you to pursue us all the way here. Since you've arrived, don't think about leaving anymore. You need not worry. I won't leave anyway. Meng Lei waved it off as he smiled faintly. The supreme celestial realm seems like a nice place. I've decided to stay for a long time from now on. Long stay? You mean long gone? The death dominus did not pay the life dominus any more attention as he used the supreme celestial realm's power to suppress Meng Lei. Stay here forever, little fellow. Boom! The rolling pressure came like crashing tidal waves from all directions toward Meng Lei. At that moment, the full potential of the supreme celestial realm could finally be showcased. This power had surpassed any other power of existential plane and also surpassed the combined realm's power used by the 3 juggernauts with 43 chief gods. Prepare to be obliterated, little fellow. The death dominus let out a sinister laugh. I've activated 50% of the realm's power that no one can survive. Even if you're halfway through becoming a supreme god, you'll surely be crushed into a flesh pie, a meat sauce mwahaha. I'm afraid you'll be disappointed. Facing the terrifying power, Meng Lei did not move as it enveloped him. You're almost dead and still speak with such stubbornness. The death dominus sneered as he could imagine how Meng Lei would end up smashed into a meat pie. However, his smile stiffened at the very next moment. Meng Lei was like an immovable force in the eye of the storm. No matter how the waves crashed and ravaged, Meng Lei stood there unharmed as he smiled calmly. It was just like a breeze was caressing his face while he remained firm and unmoving. No way. This is impossible. The Death Dominus could not accept what he witnessed, while the Life Dominus looked like she had seen a ghost. The Supreme Celestial Realm possessed 48 Chief God Divine Cores, which created 44 Chief Gods and the 4 Juggernauts. Currently, other than the 2 that Meng Lei had obtained, and 1 each for herself and the Destruction Dominus, the rest had been assimilated by the Death Dominus, whose control over the Supreme Celestial Realm reached an unbelievable extent. It could be said that the Death Dominus had almost refined the entire Supreme Celestial Realm, and the Supreme Celestial Realm's power that he could activate was insane. The Life Dominus could never have imagined the true might of such power, but it could surely match a supreme god. However, she could not believe that Meng Lei could remain unharmed, as if the realm's power was nothing to him. Maybe he has become a supreme god? The Life Dominus muttered. Even so, how can a supreme god be unharmed under 50% power? Just how strong was Meng Lei, exactly? The Life Dominus could find no answer to that. See? Your biggest trump card couldn't even hurt me. Now tell me, Death Dominus, how are you going to kill me? Meng Lei looked at the Death Dominus with a bright smile. Don't get over yourself, little fellow. The Death Dominus' eyes were blood-red. Since 50% isn't enough, I'll use 90% power then. I'm sure that you won't be able to withstand 90% of the realm's power this time. Go to hell. The Supreme Celestial Realm's power surged up again. 60%, 70%, 80%, then 90% of the realm's power flooded onto Meng Lei. Anyone else, including a Supreme Juggernaut, would be crushed indifferently. That was not the case for Meng Lei. He stood there unscathed as he allowed the pressure on him while he stayed in the spot. 90% was no different from 50% of the realm's power. Why is this happening? The Death Dominus' head was trembling. He could not believe his eyes and the scene he was witnessing or accept what was happening. Is that all you got, Death Dominus? If so, then I'm sorry to tell you that your wish will never come true. Meng Lei continued as he gazed at the Death Dominus. By the way, let me remind you that the Celestial Realm's power might be mighty, but it was never your own power. Hence, it might be stripped away, like this. With that said, Meng Lei used his will to control the Supreme Celestial Realm's power around him to press toward the Death Dominus. You can activate the realm's power? Damn it! You must have assimilated both the Space Dominus and the Behemoth Chief God's divine cores in order to do such a thing. The Death Dominus let out a roar. Still, you think you can strip away my control over the Supreme Celestial Realm? You think too highly of yourself. He started to activate the realm's power too. Yet, that was the moment he realized that he had lost control over the Supreme Celestial Realm. He simply could not use it anymore. How can this be? How can this be? The Death Dominus bellowed furiously as he repeatedly tried to activate the realm's power through his divine core in his mind, but to no avail. His divine core in his mind was like a flat battery, cutting its connection from the Supreme Celestial Realm despite the Death Dominus attempts to activate it. Why is this happening? The Death Dominus went absolutely nuts. Boom! The violent, surging Celestial Realm's power swept across as it landed onto the Death Dominus. Under this horrible pressure, the Death Dominus bled from all 7 facial orifices. His bones were fractured, his back was bent, and his leg was broken, putting him kneeling to the ground. Damn it! Damn it! Damn it! The Death Dominus roared hysterically, but he could no longer get up. See? Death Dominus! Meng Lei walked toward the Death Dominus step by step as he looked down from above at him. Powers that aren't yours can be taken away easily. Why? The Death Dominus glared straight at Meng Lei. The exact reason. I don't really know how to explain it either. Meng Lei shook his head slightly. Maybe I'm just too overpowered. Too powerful? He. The Death Dominus gave a dismal laugh. Blood was spilling out from his nose, eyes, and mouth as it was a horrific sight to behold. Before I die, can you answer this? What level are you at exactly? A supreme god of the universe? Or a primordial world Genesis god? I don't know. Meng Lei shook his head again. I don't really know where I've progressed. Maybe I'm only slightly superior over a supreme god. I just can't put it into words. You don't know? The Death Dominus seemed unsurprised. Go look for Desirel. He's an ancient freak who survived from the previous era. So he must know a lot about this. Destruction Dominus? Meng Lei turned to look in another direction. TSK. To be able to power up so quickly, this fellow must have some secrets up his sleeves. I'll meet him properly later. As for you... Meng Lei turned back to look at the Death Dominus. Taking your life or not isn't important to me. Well, since you're from this era, I can let you live. And you should know what to do, right? You're not going to kill me? The Death Dominus was stunned. Unless you want to die, Meng Lei said dispassionately. The Death Dominus was overjoyed as he released his divine spirit origin energy immediately, handing it over to Meng Lei respectfully. I'm willing to submit. Your divine spirit origin energy alone isn't enough. Meng Lei stuck a finger onto the forehead of the Death Dominus. With a light sizzling sound, a dazzling crystal flew out. This crystal was circular and covered with cracks all over its surface. It was the Chief God Divine Core. To be more accurate, it was the heart of the existential plane combined from 44 Chief God Divine Cores. Meng Lei crushed the crystal in his palm to separate this crystal again into 44 Chief God Divine Cores. The Death Dominus spat out a mouthful of blood at the same time. This is yours. Meng Lei threw one of the divine cores to the Death Dominus before wiping off the divine spirit marks on the rest of the 43 divine cores and kept them. Lastly, he refined the divine spirit origin energy of the Death Dominus. Such a large cake like the supreme celestial realm shouldn't be hoarded by you alone, and it should be shared, am I right? Meng Lei looked at the Death Dominus. Yes. How wise, my master. The Death Dominus did not dare to have any objections. Good. Meng Lei nodded slightly as he turned to the Life Dominus. What about you? I'm willing to submit as well. The Life Dominus did not hesitate at all to prostrate before Meng Lei and hand over her divine spirit origin energy. Smart move. Meng Lei refined the Life Dominus divine spirit origin energy before telling them, Go now, bring me the treasuries of the 44 chief gods of the supreme celestial realm, and their godly clan treasuries as well. Of course, don't forget your own treasuries too. Yes, master. The Life Dominus and the Death Dominus answered respectfully before teleporting away. 1 minute later, they returned with the spatial rings. Pretty fast, I see, Meng Lei remarked as he received the rings. He kept whatever he needed and threw away whatever was unnecessary. As expected from the 48 godly clans of the celestial realm, their wealth was beyond his imagination. After collection, his wealth increased by 500 supreme divinity crystals to an unprecedented 1,000 supreme divinity crystals. It was truly unprecedented. With such massive wealth, he had to spend them. System. How many supreme divinity crystals would it cost to enhance my divine spirit? Ding! The host's divine spirit is currently comparable to a supreme Juggernaut's and will rival that of a supreme god of the universe after enhancement. Enhancement cost is estimated at 500 supreme divinity crystals. The system asked coldly, Will you enhance it? 500? Forget it. Meng Lei rejected it. Despite possessing a massive wealth of 1,000 supreme divinity crystals, it came from plundering 148 godly clans to save up that many. To earn more would mean to scourge the netherworld, demon realm, hell, and the abyss. Or else it would be difficult to obtain more from plundering. Even if he ransacked the entire netherworld and others, how much could he earn? 1,000 supreme divinity crystals? 2,000 supreme divinity crystals? It would not be much, to say the least. Oh well, I'll save up first then. Let's go and meet the Destruction Dominus. At the same time, his body exuded strings of elusive, erratic, and illusory aura, filling up the entire space. The gray skeleton stood in the coffin while its grayish will-o'-the-wisp blinked about, its thoughts unknown. Soon, you're almost there. Once you've assimilated this bit of destiny laws of nature, you will ascend into a supreme god. By then, you'll be able to wipe off any unstable elements to buy time for us. This era is our only shot. We cannot fail no matter what. After an unknown amount of time, the Destruction Dominus opened his eyes suddenly. They were bottomless with glimmers of mysterious laws of nature. "Have you succeeded?" asked the gray skeleton. "I did it." The Destruction Dominus nodded. "I've completely assimilated this bit of destiny laws of nature to step into an entirely different domain. I believe in due time, I'll master it to become the supreme god of destiny." Great! Destiny, order, and space-time laws of nature are the great Genesis laws of nature that stood above the 5 supreme laws of nature. There's nothing more superior than these laws of nature. The gray skeleton was delighted. If we can obtain a cosmic embryo, you can create a complete universe. Then you can assimilate the universe's origin energy to become the Lord of the universe, like that legendary primordial world Genesis god. Of course, there's a universe here already. There's no need to seek further to create another one when we can just eliminate any unstable factors here. Once this era ends and the great reincarnation and destruction process arrives, assimilating this universe's origin energy will do. Assimilate the universe's origin energy. Become the Lord of the universe. Match the legendary primordial world Genesis god. The Destruction Dominus eyes were scorching, while his voice contained endless murderous intent.
Meng Lai Musti.
And the Death Dominus, Life Dominus, Supreme God of the Underworld, and Grim Reaper King. They must all die. Indeed, they must be taken down. The gray skeleton continued. Remember, this era is our only opportunity. If we miss this one, we'll never make a comeback. I understand. The Destruction Dominus nodded slightly. Carry on with your deep sleep. It's time to finish off Meng Lei. Go on then. The gray skeleton yawned and returned inside the coffin. The hovering coffin lid fell gently as it closed the coffin once again. The Destruction Dominus swept a glance at the coffin before leaving the space in a flash. After more than an hour of traveling upward, he returned to the ground surface.
Iarikome, Meng Lei.
The Destruction Dominus began to check the destiny lines to trace down Meng Lei. Every person had their destiny, or rather, every form of life and the existential planes had their own destinies. Destiny was like a line that kept on extending forward. Unless the life form died or the existential plane was destroyed, the destiny line would never stop extending. Nevertheless, if the life form's destiny line was cut off, it meant the end of its destiny, and death would follow. Despite comprehending only parts of the destiny laws of nature, the Destruction Dominus could see the destiny lines of all life forms. As his gaze swept across the destiny world, densely packed destiny lines hovered around. Some were like a sun glow that was extremely red till it was similar to purple, meaning that fortune would shine on this life form with ample opportunities. Some were as precarious as a pile of eggs, as if a gust of wind could break it, meaning that this life form was ill-fated with a lifetime of bad luck. In short, it would be a life of misery. Of course, the destiny lines were not independent as most were intertwining with each other, meaning that these life forms were connected. Although there were countless destiny lines, finding Meng Lei's destiny line was not too difficult. Since Meng Lei was so powerful, his destiny line should be incredibly thick. Thus, finding the thickest line would be the simplest option. With that in mind, the Destruction Dominus found some of the thickest destiny lines he could. However, he discovered that none was Meng Lei's destiny line after checking. The Destruction Dominus was flabbergasted. How was it possible that he could not find Meng Lei's destiny line? He continued searching. After half a day had gone, nothing turned up. However, the Destruction Dominus saw a wall. It was incredibly tall and majestic, spanning across the destiny world to occupy half of the space, making it hard to ignore. The Destruction Dominus had seen the wall when he entered the destiny world, but he did not think much of it or even treat it as a destiny line. The wall was too huge and thick. How could it be a destiny line? The search continued as the Destruction Dominus checked through every line, finding the destiny lines of the Death Dominus, Life Dominus, Supreme God of the Underworld, and Grim Reaper King. Yet, Meng Lei's destiny line was still nowhere to be found. Does this fellow not have a destiny? The Destruction Dominus was going mad when he noticed that the Great Wall was moving toward him. The Destruction Dominus was startled. This wall can move too? What's going on? Just as the Destruction Dominus was dazed, the wall finally reached him and intertwined with his destiny line. While hovering before the wall, the Destruction Dominus realized that his destiny line was like a firefly in front of the sun. There was no comparability between the two at all. The intertwining of destiny lines meant the crossing of paths between two lifeforms. A jolt went through the Destruction Dominus as he seemed to think up something. He perhaps... Destruction Dominus, what are you standing around here for? Are you waiting here knowing that I'm coming? A mocking voice rang. This voice. The Destruction Dominus left the Destiny world immediately while returning to reality. Why you? You? The Destruction Dominus pointed at Meng Lei with an extremely complicated expression. It was like a mix of terror and shock that affected his articulation. What's the matter? Meng Lei raised an eyebrow. Meng Lei. The Destruction Dominus calmed down as he glared at Meng Lei with an intent to kill that had never been so intense. Today you'll die. You must die. Kill me? Just you. Meng Lei shook his head with a smile as he mocked. It's not that I'm underestimating you, but you're certainly just inferior to me. D. The Destruction Dominus bellowed as a punch shot out. Mysterious laws of nature aura burst off the fist while the punch blasted onto Meng Lei heavily. Amazingly, the punch neither caused any spatial fluctuations nor expressed any form of might. Meng Lei did not dodge it either, as if the punch did not exist. However, Meng Lei felt the brunt of the strike. Although it was not lethal, he could sense that he was weakened slightly. He could not explain how he was weakened, but it was the fact. What kind of attack is this? Meng Lei looked at the Destruction Dominus with eyes full of disbelief. Ever since he had manifested his primordial world body, no one could harm him at all. Yet, the Destruction Dominus did just that with a mysterious power. How could Meng Lei possibly not be startled? You bastard! Disbelief was also written on the Destruction Dominus' face. He realized that his attack that was imbued with the power of destiny could not even move his destiny. Accurately speaking, it did shake a little, meaning that the wall representing Meng Lei's destiny did shake a little. Other than that, there was nothing else. Darn it! How can your destiny be so powerful to such an extent? Despite controlling a bit of the power of destiny, it was only a little bit after all. Meng Lei's destiny was like a wall that was impossible to kill. Even if he had the perseverance of the foolish old man who removed the mountains one, he still could not move such a great wall. Destiny? Is this the power of destiny? Meng Lei's eyes lit up while he asked intensely, You've controlled the destiny laws of nature? So what if it's true? If Meng Lei asked him before that punch, the Destruction Dominus would have been proud of himself. The destiny laws of nature was one of the Genesis laws of nature that were superior to supreme laws of nature. Controlling part of it meant that he had stepped into the level of supreme gods. How impressive was that? However, the Destruction Dominus could not lift his spirits anymore now. Destiny laws of nature. You've actually comprehended it. The Life Dominus was shocked as she looked at the Destruction Dominus in disbelief. The Death Dominus was not surprised as he said gravely, Desiril is an ancient fossil that survived the previous era. I think it's only normal for him to comprehend the destiny laws of nature. The previous era? The Life Dominus was taken aback. The destiny laws of nature. Haha. Thanks, Destruction Dominus. Meng Lei laughed out loud with undisguised delight and excitement in his laughter. Moro, you've told me that there would be a surprise for me the next time I meet the 3 Juggernauts. Is this the one? You've guessed it right. Moro smiled and said, When you were fighting the 3 Juggernauts, I sensed a familiar aura from the Destruction Dominus. After close observations, I realized that I knew this fellow from the previous era. You mean he's an ancient freak like you from the previous era? Meng Lei raised an eyebrow. No. It's different. Moro shook his head. He appeared suddenly toward the end of the previous era. Plus, he was already at the level of a great perfection supreme god. If it weren't for my friend and me, this fellow's scheme would have succeeded. Scheme? What kind of scheme? A look of puzzlement came over Meng Lei's features. The plot to assimilate the universe's origin energy to become the Lord of the Universe. Moro said slowly, the Lord of the Universe, as its name suggests, is the master of a universe. Legend has it that once you've become that, you'll match the legendary primordial world Genesis God and truly transcend the universe. You will also be unaffected by the great reincarnation and destruction process. Plus, you can even control the great reincarnation and destruction process. Chapter 425 The Gray Skeleton. He has to die. Meng Lei continuously mumbled this sentence, his eyes flashing brightly. When an era comes to an end, and when the great reincarnation and destruction process happens, laws of nature retreat and the origin of the universe appears. This is the best time to assimilate the universe's origin energy, Moro continued. And it is because of this that many ambitious players would emerge, fight for the universe's origin energy, and attempt to become the Lord of the universe. Destruction Dominus is one of them. I fought with him years ago, so I will not forget his scent until the day I die, which means the Destruction Dominus is an ancient fellow from the era before the last? Meng Lei looked at the Destruction Dominus, and a strange look flashed across his eyes. The longer one lives, the more one knows. Not bad. Moro reminded him. Be careful. When the last era suddenly emerged, this guy showed strength comparable to supreme gods. Don't let your guard down at all, in case it costs you unexpectedly. Don't worry, I know. Meng Lei licked his tongue and looked at the Destruction Dominus greedily. I didn't expect you were actually an ancient monster from the era before the last. And even lesser did I expect that you actually sent over the destiny laws of nature. Destruction Dominus. I really have to thank you. Upon hearing the first sentence, the Destruction Dominus' facial complexion changed slightly. How did you know? Can you also be an ancient monster who survived from 2 eras ago? No, can't be, your scent is too strange. I have never seen you. Who are you after all? It's unimportant who I am. Meng Lei smiled slightly. What's important is that I have to thank you. Thank me. The Destruction Dominus was a bit stunned. Yes, thank you for bringing the destiny laws of nature. Meng Lei smiled mildly and made the order to plunder immediately. System, get out to work. Plunder the Destruction Dominus destiny laws of nature immediately. Ding. Plunder target. Destruction Dominus. Target substance. Destiny laws of nature. Estimated plunder price. 50 Supreme Divinity Crystal. The cold voice of the system sounded. Would you like to plunder? 50 Supreme Divinity Crystals? It's not expensive. Meng Lei's mouth curved upward. Why do you ask? Plunder. Whoosh. At that moment, the Destruction Dominus suddenly felt a mysterious force envelop him. He was in a daze, and then a melancholic, grievous feeling invaded his mind. The Destruction Dominus felt like he lost something, but he couldn't say what exactly it was. In the meantime, Meng Lei felt an extremely rich and powerful rush of information suddenly entering his mind and blending into the divine spirit flame. Meng Lei hurriedly restrained his thoughts and started rapid comprehension. Destiny. Every life has its destiny. Destiny. Information about the destiny laws of nature flashed across his mind like a movie. Meng Lei rapidly absorbed, read, and comprehended. After an unknown period, maybe just an instant, a long while, Meng Lei finally mastered all of the destiny laws of nature. Looking at the stats interface again, he saw that destiny laws of nature was indeed added to the laws of nature comprehension column. Laws of nature. Time, 100%. Destruction, 100%. Life, 100%. Spatial, 100%. Death, 100%. Destiny, 0.1%. System. How many Supreme Divinity Crystals does it cost to improve destiny laws of nature? Meng Lei asked the system. The system answered without any hesitation. Ding! 1,000 supreme divinity crystals are required to improve destiny laws of nature by 1%. 1,000 supreme divinity crystals. Meng Lei drew a cold breath. 1,000 supreme divinity crystals are required to improve a mere 1%. Wouldn't it require 100,000 supreme divinity crystals to completely master destiny laws of nature? Meng Lei felt a tingling on his scalp. After plundering the 10 divine realms and the 148 divine races of the supreme celestial realm, he had only barely accumulated 1,000 supreme divinity crystals. And now, the extremely costly destiny laws of nature actually required 100,000 supreme divinity crystals. This is so F***king ridiculous. Where was he to find so many destiny laws of nature? I'm sad. Meng Lei rubbed his temples and feeling troubled. In this case, I can only go and make trouble at the demon's camp. Speaking of which, Meng Lei looked at the Destruction Dominus again and said mildly, "In order to thank you for bringing me the destiny laws of nature, I have decided to leave you with a full corpse." As he spoke, Meng Lei reached out to directly grab at the Destruction Dominus. "You want to kill me? You can't kill me." The Destruction Dominus roared and immediately teleported himself out by manipulating celestial realm forces. Upon seeing this, Meng Lei couldn't help but shake his head slightly. "I just comprehended the destiny laws of nature. I will use you to try it out then," he murmured. Then, Meng Lei's divine spirit plunged into the void of destiny, found the Destruction Dominus line of destiny, and then cut it gently. The Destruction Dominus line of destiny was instantly broken by a long length, with only a small strand barely attached. At that moment, the Destruction Dominus, who teleported to the distance, suddenly felt a strong sense of weakness in his body. It was as if his divine body was emptied. His entire person was extremely weak, and he almost fell to the ground. What's going on? The Destruction Dominus was shocked and scared. He hurried to examine himself, and to his astonishment, he realized that neither his divine body nor his divine spirit had been weakened. Yet, he just felt an unprecedented weakness, as though he had returned to his weakest period. Destiny laws of nature. This is the power of destiny, the Destruction Dominus said with a hoarse voice. **T. Destiny laws of nature attacked me. His divine spirit hurriedly went into the void of destiny, meaning to check on his own line of destiny, only to find that he actually couldn't enter the void of destiny. What's going on? Why can't I enter the void of destiny? The Destruction Dominus was astonished, and then he tried madly. In the end, he discovered something even more tragic. His understanding of destiny laws of nature was gone. In other words, it was replaced with a blankness. How did that happen? Where is the destiny laws of nature I comprehended? The Destruction Dominus felt like he was struck by lightning. Meng Lei appeared quietly with the Life Dominus and Death Dominus. The Destruction Dominus stared at Meng Lei. "What did you do to me?" "Nothing much. I just deprived you of your comprehension of destiny laws of nature," Meng Lei said lightly, as though he was speaking of something totally insignificant. Yet, in the ears of the Destruction Dominus, Life Dominus, and Death Dominus, the impact was no less than a bolt of thunder. Under shock, the three Dominus' bodies quivered violently, and their facial complexions changed significantly. Deprived him of destiny laws of nature? Master actually has such ability? The Life Dominus and Death Dominus gave each other a look and saw shock and amazement in each other's eyes. "Why you deprived my comprehension of the destiny laws of nature?" The Destruction Dominus was a bit hysterical. "No, it's impossible. It's impossible. There's no point saying more. Go to hell." Meng Lei made a casual grab, directly grabbing the Destruction Dominus in his hand. His divine spirit force rushed out wildly and submerged the Destruction Dominus divine spirit right away. It started a mad spirit search. "Arg!" The Destruction Dominus roared hoarsely, struggled, and resisted madly, yet everything was in vain. He was weak and couldn't fight against Meng Lei at all. Eventually, Meng Lei finished reading the Destruction Dominus memory and learned all his secrets. Meng Lei's eyes flashed right away, and he disappeared right where he was. When he reappeared, He was already in that mysterious underground space. That coffin quietly floated in midair. Yet the coffin cover was open, and the one inside was actually gone. The gray skeleton was gone. *T. I actually let him run away. Meng Lei cursed quietly. He knew who the gray skeleton was. That was the other Destruction Dominus. In other words, he was the other body of the Destruction Dominus. They were the same person to begin with. Meng Lei also knew that the gray skeleton was indeed an old monster from the era before the last. Because of this, after the start of the new era, he had been suppressed by the order laws of nature. He couldn't cultivate, absorb energy, or improve. One could say that the new era was very hostile to life forms from the old era. In order to deal with such a situation, the gray skeleton had separated out a pure divine spirit origin, which didn't contain his memory, consciousness, thinking, and divinity, and then dropped it into the new era. This was pretty much trafficking, but he had succeeded in cheating the order laws of nature. This divine spirit had eventually grown to become the Destruction Dominus. The gray skeleton had planned very well. He had been hiding there, studying the order laws of nature, while the Destruction Dominus was outside removing obstructions. The two had been working together and planning to refine the universe's origin energy once again when this era came to an end, and the order laws of nature retreated. They would then seize the controlling power of the universe. And it was because of that, when the Destruction Dominus had discovered Meng Lei, a factor of instability, the Destruction Dominus tried to erase Meng Lei at all cost. All was well with his planning, but with all that planning, he hadn't expected that Meng Lei was actually this strong. Even though the Destruction Dominus had a bit of comprehension of the destiny laws of nature, he had still been badly defeated by Meng Lei. What was more tragic was that Meng Lei had even robbed him of the destiny laws of nature. Wait for it. You won't escape from me. Meng Lei snorted, left the space, and returned to the external world. Master! The Life Dominus and Death Dominus approached him. Let's go. Off to the Supreme Netherworld. Meng Lei gave an order right away. Yes, Master. Despite the thousands of questions the two had, they didn't dare question and obediently agreed. Don't resist, follow me. Meng Lei let out divine cognition to wrap the Life Dominus and Death Dominus and disappeared from the Supreme Celestial Realm. When they reappeared, they were already in the vast void. At the depth of the distant universe, in a far and unknown corner, a crack quietly appeared. A gray skeleton emerged from within. It was just the gray skeleton. This deserves death. Death! A ghostly gray fire flickered wildly inside the skull, showing how angry he was right now. *RD. Wait for it, I won't let you go. It's mine. This era is mine. The universe's origin energy is mine. The entire universe is also mine. Any existence that hinders me has to die. His cold roar filled up the surroundings. The gray skeleton gradually calmed down. I didn't expect this era to actually birth such an existence. He not only has the terrible ability to rob laws of nature, but his line of destiny is actually this strong too. This is troublesome. I have to find a way to kill him. If he doesn't die, I have no chance. He has to die. 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 In nature, the Supreme Netherworld wasn't different from the Supreme Celestial Realm. They had the same laws of nature, space structure, energy constitution. The difference was only that the life forms that occupied them were different. The Supreme Netherworld was as vast and boundless as the Celestial Realm. Inside it lived countless dark creatures, such as the dead souls, the necromancers, the specters, the undying, the abyss demons, the fallen demons, the skeletons, the purgatory kings. These dark creatures were extremely powerful. They didn't cultivate a divine body nor the laws of nature. They grew simply by devouring their own kind. As a result, there weren't many who could really grow to the pinnacle. Up till now, only 2 Juggernaut-level existences had been born among the dark creatures, the supreme god of the Underworld and the Grim Reaper King. They had divided up almost half of the realm of the Supreme Netherworld, with the other half left to be ruled by the numerous demon grandmasters. The supreme god of the Underworld lived in the Netherworld Shrine, and the Netherworld Shrine was the source of the 5 great rivers of the Supreme Netherworld. One was sure to reach the Netherworld Shrine by going upstream following the 5 great rivers. On this day, Meng Lei's party came to the Netherworld Shrine. Under Meng Lei's lead, the 3 spent only 1 hour to cross through countless light years, reached the supreme Netherworld, and then the Netherworld Shrine. The Netherworld Shrine was on top of a mountain. This was a black snow-covered mountain. The snow melted to form 5 rivers flowing in 5 directions. These were the 5 great rivers of the supreme Netherworld: the River of Pain, the River of Sighs, the River of Water Scorpions, the River of Forgetfulness, and the River of Hatred. Meng Lei looked around the Netherworld Shrine, laughed, and said, "I heard the Netherworld Shrine allows entries but no exits. It is the most mysterious forbidden ground of the entire universe. Have you two come to the Netherworld Shrine before?" "No, Master." The Life Dominus shook her head slowly. "I have come many times," said the Death Dominus. "Many times." Meng Lei was shocked. "You dare to come to the Netherworld Shrine? Weren't you afraid of getting killed by the supreme god of the Underworld and the Grim Reaper King?" "You may not be aware, Master, but the supreme god of the Underworld is my younger brother," explained the Death Dominus. "Your younger brother?" Meng Lei was slightly stunned. "The supreme god of the Underworld is actually your brother?" "Yes, Master," the Death Dominus said slowly. "Hades and I are brothers by blood. It was only that he obtained the qualification of Chief God at the Supreme Netherworld, while I obtained the qualification of Chief God at the Supreme Celestial Realm. From then on, he became a Chief God at the Netherworld, and I at the Celestial Realm." "I see." Meng Lei nodded. "Call him." "Yes, Master." The Death Dominus nodded slightly and then looked at the Netherworld Shrine on top of the snow-covered mountain. "Hades, your master is here. Hurry over to greet him." A soft came from the inside of the Netherworld Shrine. A tall and strong body dressed in a black robe abruptly appeared in midair. He looked at the Death Dominus, frowned, and said, "Hades, it's all fine that you are here, but what are you bringing random people here for?" His gaze fell upon Meng Lei and the Life Dominus. He directly ignored Meng Lei and looked toward the Life Dominus. His irises shark slightly. "Life Dominus? You actually dare to come here? Hades, watch yourself." The Death Dominus scolded. "Are you not greeting Master yet?" "Master." The supreme god of the Underworld frowned immediately. "Hades, what's up with you after all? Let me tell you about it." Master stepped forward. "I had a battle with your elder brother and he lost. Thus, I became his master, understood." "How dare you enslave Hades?" The supreme god of the Underworld was furious. The rolling powers of the Underworld condensed into a giant palm covering the sky and slammed toward Meng Lei like a huge mountain. "Hades, don't be presumptuous." Upon seeing this, cold sweat emerged on the Death Dominus' forehead. He hurried to speak to stop him. Meng Lei waved a hand to signal to him to stay calm, and then he punched a fist right at it. Boom! The fist and the palm collided. Following a huge roar, the sky-covering giant palm was smashed and shattered. The supreme god of the Underworld staggered back a few steps. Meng Lei stepped right up, approaching him in a ghostly manner, and pressed one finger against the center of his eyebrows. "I only need to press down this finger, and you will surely die. Do you believe it?" said Meng Lei lightly. "Who exactly are you?" The supreme god of the Underworld stared at Meng Lei, and a layer of cold sweat appeared on his forehead. He had only noticed the Life Dominus but not Meng Lei at the start because Meng Lei looked too ordinary as a normal human. But he really didn't expect that ordinary-looking Meng Lei actually possessed such horrible battle prowess. The power to break the Netherworld with one punch was simply terrible. "You don't need to know who I am. You only need to know that I have the strength to kill you any time, and that's enough," said Meng Lei lightly. "You..." The supreme god of the Underworld's tone sounded choked for a moment, and he said with a low voice, "What do you want?" "Submit to me. Be my servant," Meng Lei said dispassionately. "No way." The supreme god of the Underworld looked like a cat whose tail got stepped on. He yelled with a stern voice, "I am the supreme god of the Underworld. It's impossible that I will submit to anyone." "Not going to submit? Then prepare to die. Meng Lei's gaze chilled. Hades, surrender to Master. The Death Dominus hurriedly spoke. Master has terrible strength, surpassing supreme gods. It's totally impossible for you to defeat him. Hades, you have fallen. The supreme god of the underworld looked toward the Death Dominus. You, a proper Death Dominus, actually willingly submitted to him. It's my shame to have an elder brother such as you. Hades, you are just as stupid as ever. The Death Dominus' facial expression looked ugly. Do you know how strong Master is? Let me tell you. Previously I merged the 43 Chief God Divine Cores of the Supreme Celestial Realm and almost controlled the entire Supreme Celestial Realm, but I still wasn't able to beat Master. You think you can beat him? What a joke. What are you talking about? The facial expression of the Supreme God of the Underworld changed drastically. He said with disbelief, "Is this for real? Hades, you are my own brother. I can't possibly lie to you." The Death Dominus sighed and said slowly, "It's a disgrace to submit to other people, but it's a fortune to submit to Master. Hades, don't make useless struggles. There is no point at all." Hades, are you speaking the truth? The Supreme God of the Underworld said through a telepathic message via his divine spirit. Don't lie to me. Why should I lie to you? The Death Dominus similarly said through a telepathic message via his divine spirit. You also know that I am a proud person, but after the battle previously, I wholeheartedly submitted to Master. After a series of communication, the Supreme God of the Underworld looked at Meng Lei differently. After mobilizing 90% of the powers of the Celestial Realm, he still couldn't beat Meng Lei. Just how strong was Meng Lei, exactly? Submit, Hades, Meng Lei said dispassionately. I submit. Hades finally bowed his noble head. He was proud indeed, but not so proud as to give up life for death. What was pride in comparison to life? After that, Hades gave up his divine spirit origin energy, and Meng Lei casually refined it. I will give you a task, said Meng Lei lightly. Collect all the gold, laws of nature origin crystals, and demonic crystals of the supreme netherworld. Dark creatures called divinity crystals, demonic crystals, and they were the same kind of things by nature. Yes, Master. Although the supreme god of the underworld felt confused by such an order, he dared not disobey and still took his orders and left. Meng Lei looked in one direction, his lips curving upward. Lord Grim Reaper King, since you are here, why don't you show yourself? It's not fitting for your position to hide. Cough, 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 cough. Chapter 427 OL. Amos awakened. Blissful old man coarse sounds of coughing rang as the air shook slightly. A black figure covered in a dark cloak appeared before everyone. It was the other supreme juggernaut of the netherworld, the Grim Reaper King. A cloud of black mist shrouded the Grim Reaper King's face, and no one could have a clear view of his face, but that terrifying might it gave off was the real deal. Grim Reaper King, your voice is pretty thunderous. Meng Lei sized up the Grim Reaper King as an indistinct look flashed across his eyes. He had assimilated the Grim Reaper bloodline before, and he could be considered a Grim Reaper as well. Hence, his gaze at the appearance of the Grim Reaper King was inevitably complex. The black mist shrouding the Grim Reaper King's face rippled as a loud and clear voice rang. Sir, who are you exactly? Since when did an expert like you appear in this universe? Why haven't I heard of you before? I was only a nameless nobody a few months ago. Of course you wouldn't have heard of me. Meng Lei waved it off. By the way, may I ask what's your business over here, Grim Reaper King? I got curious when I sensed the intense reverberation of the power of the netherworld, and it was broken up by someone violently. Therefore I arrived here to see for myself. The Grim Reaper King looked at Meng Lei. I didn't expect to witness such an incredible scene. I wonder if I should be happy or sad. You should be happy about it, of course. Meng Lei chuckled. It's my great honor to meet the famed Grim Reaper King. The Grim Reaper King could not hide his smile. I wonder what business you have in the netherworld, sir. It's very simple. I'm collecting wealth. Meng Lei smiled faintly. I'm a man who worships money like it's my life. I'm here today in the Netherworld to collect all kinds of gold, laws of nature origin crystals, divinity crystals, and demonic crystals. Would you like to assist me? Since you have such a need, I'll do my best to help. The Grim Reaper King nodded slightly. May I proceed, sir? You have my gratitude, Grim Reaper King. Meng Lei thanked him with a smile. Please wait for a moment. I'll be back soon. The Grim Reaper King disappeared on the spot as if he was afraid that staying a second longer would cost his life. You're letting him leave just like that, Master? The Death Dominus was rather confused. In order to get them to serve him, Meng Lei had refined their divine spirit origin energy and enslaved them. On the other hand, the Grim Reaper King was much better off as Meng Lei only requested his help. The difference was too huge. Haha! I just feel like it. Meng Lei waved it off with an indifferent expression. What was so important about being enslaved or not? The Death Dominus and Life Dominus looked at each other, speechless. That was discrimination. It's time to visit the palace of the supreme god of the underworld. Meng Lei flew toward the shrine on top of the mountain. Upon entering the shrine, he sat on the throne of the supreme god of the underworld. The Life Dominus and Death Dominus stood on the two sides of Meng Lei like two guards. Waiting was a source of boredom, so Meng Lei prepared to check on the destiny laws of nature he had obtained previously. However, an exclamation came from the Tower of Time to break the atmosphere. Ha ha ha! I've attained great perfection now. I've finally become a great perfection deity. Never in my lifetime have I ever thought that. Meng Lei appeared in the Tower of Time to see his OL president red in the face as he burst into a peal of loud laughter while his clear voice spread around. Have you succeeded with the assimilation? OL, Amos? Meng Lei went over to greet with a smile. I've succeeded. I've finally succeeded. Amos looked at Meng Lei with a face of gratitude. Meng Lei, I cannot thank you enough. If it weren't for you, I would never have gotten the chance to become a great perfection deity in my lifetime. Amos, you're speaking like I'm an outsider. Meng Lei smiled. If it weren't for your guidance in the past, how could I have accomplished what I have achieved today? Oh, you're too humble. Amos smiled and shook his head. Given your freaky talent, you'd rise up sooner or later, even without me. Oh yes, where are Pahaman and the rest? Well, they're all assimilating their chief god divine cores, Meng Lei said with great pleasure. Trattino basso? Amos was dumbfounded for a moment. What? Wait, what? I'm saying that they're all assimilating chief god divine cores to become chief gods once they succeed. Meng Lei repeated himself. Assimilating chief god divine cores? Become chief gods. Amos jumped into the air when he heard that. What the heck? Where did their chief god divine core come from? Or perhaps you're powerful enough to hunt down chief gods. Where did those chief god divine cores come from? Well, Amos could only think of Meng Lei as the answer. Yes, Meng Lei smiled. While you were away with the assimilation of your great perfection divine core, I accidentally broke through again and killed some chief gods along the way to obtain some of their divine cores. If anyone else told him that, well, Amos would have scoffed at the idea of accidentally broken through. Killing chief gods at will, it would have been ridiculed. However, if Meng Lei said that it was completely normal to Amos, he knew Meng Lei long enough to the extent that even if Meng Lei told him that he had become a primordial world Genesis god, he would believe every word without any doubts. Where is mine? Where's my chief god divine core? Amos jumped and grabbed onto Meng Lei's shoulders. His eyes were bloodshot as they stared at Meng Lei fervently, overcome by excitement, greed, and desire. I've known you well enough. You must have one for me, right? Meng Lei thought of joking with Amos that there were no more chief god divine cores. However, he did not dare to as he did not want the old man to snap his neck due to utter disappointment. Meng Lei was rather amused and waved his arm to release over 100 chief god divine cores. He sorted them into 11 stacks according to the Supreme Celestial Realm and the 10 major divine realms. Here are more than 100 chief god divine cores, 46 from the Supreme Celestial Realm and over 80 from the 10 major divine realms. Which one would you like to assimilate? So many chief god divine cores? Amos was shocked as he gasped and began stuttering. 100 chief god divine cores? You've killed every chief gods of the supreme celestial realm and the 10 divine realms. Amos knew that there were 144 chief gods in the universe. Other than those that Pahaman and the rest had refined, there were around 120 left. Yet, the 120 divine cores were all here. It meant that Meng Lei might have killed them all. Well, I guess. Meng Lei nodded. Other than 144 chief gods, there's 2 juggernauts too. T2 juggernauts? Amos froze instantly as if he was looking at a monster. No, I shouldn't be this shocked and overwhelmed. Just stay calm since anything that happens to him is normal. Amos tried desperately to restrain himself, telling himself to keep calm. Still, he could not help but ask, Meng Lei, you're so powerful to such an extent. Well, I guess. Oh God. After quite a while, Amos finally calmed down slightly as he scanned the 100 over chief god divine cores available. He was dazzled by the choices while he could not take his eyes off them. Meng Lei, which one of these should I assimilate? Amos rubbed his hands excitedly. You got to choose from the supreme celestial realm. He answered promptly. The celestial realm size is 10,000 times the size of the 10 divine realms. So the chief gods there are relatively stronger than those from the 10 major divine realms. Okay. Supreme celestial realm it is. Amos repeatedly nodded as he took one divine core from the pile belonging to the supreme celestial realm. He was about to find a place to refine it when Meng Lei stopped him. Amos. Take these 22 divine cores to refine too. Trattino basso? Amos was stunned once more. Take these 22 chief god divine cores with you to refine all together. Meng Lei repeated with a smile. Oh no, no, no. I can't accept this. Amos shook his head vigorously. I'm satisfied with this one. What is the use of so many divine cores? You should keep them for yourself. These are useless to me now. Meng Lei gifted 22 divine cores from the supreme celestial realm to Amos with a wave of his arm. All right, don't waste time on refining these. I'm leaving. With that said, Meng Lei disappeared straight away. Amos watched him disappear before he tried to call him, but Meng Lei was nowhere to be seen. He could not help but let out wry laughs after wry laughs. He had just been struck by bliss, but he did not expect more bliss to come. 23 chief god divine cores were unimaginable. Amos hugged those 23 divine cores and fell into blissful trouble. How am I supposed to refine all these? Sometimes bliss can be a problem too. Meng Lei arrived at the 100th level of the Tower of Time. Dodola remained to lie on the grass in the process of refining its great perfection divine core, showing no sign of waking up. Meng Lei was rather perplexed. Dodola's state was higher than Amos, and it had started refining the great perfection divine core earlier than Amos. So why had it not succeeded yet? Just as Meng Lei was in doubt, Dodola's eyes opened up with a sharp glint flashing in its eyes. Meng Lei, why are you here? To see you. Meng Lei smiled. Did you succeed? Yes. Dodola stretched its body while it squealed in excitement. And I've comprehended the destruction laws of nature remaining in the divine core too. I see. Meng Lei was cleared of his doubt. No wonder it took longer than Amos. It's the comprehension of the destruction laws of nature, after all. After that, Meng Lei brought out the 23 chief god divine cores. Upon sensing the aura of the divine cores, Dodola could not take its eyes off them. See chief god divine cores? Yeep. Meng Lei smiled. These are the chief god divine cores from the supreme celestial realm. 23 in total. You can take them to refine. Refining the first one might take some time, but the rest will be much easier. Where did all these divine cores come from? Dodola could not believe its eyes as it knew the level of difficulty of getting one's hands on chief god divine core. Back when its old master had tried to obtain just one chief god divine core, he had gone to the length of stealing a high-end existential plane seed, eventually costing him his life. Why steal a high-end existential plane seed? Stealing a high-end existential plane would be relatively easier than killing chief gods with lesser risk. It was only a pity that it had failed. After such an experience, Dodola knew how hard it would be to obtain a chief god divine core. However, over 20 chief god divine cores appeared before its eyes. Dodola thought that it was dreaming. There are only so many chief god divine cores in the entire universe, so I guess you should know why. You killed over 20 chief gods? Dodola was dumbfounded. Not just that, all the chief gods in the 10 major divine realms and supreme celestial realm were killed by me. Now only 2 juggernauts remain. Meng Lei continued. Gasp! Meng Lei returned to the Netherworld Shrine. Before long, the supreme god of the Underworld and the Grim Reaper King returned to present the wealth they had collected. Good job, everyone. After some collecting, Meng Lei's wealth grew by another 1,500 supreme divinity crystals, adding to the 1,000 supreme divinity crystals for a total of 2,500 supreme divinity crystals. It wasn't enough, far from it. Buying credits for the destiny laws of nature required him to spend 100,000 supreme divinity crystals. What could 2,500 supreme divinity crystals do? Master, are these riches not of satisfaction for you? The supreme god of the underworld asked when he saw Meng Lei's frown. Still far from it. Meng Lei shook his head. Please be patient, Master. I'll leave at once to collect more from the untouched magic crystal mines in the supreme celestial realm. The supreme god of the underworld replied quickly. Magic crystal mines? Meng Lei was surprised. What's the matter, Master? The supreme god of the underworld was puzzled. Ah, how could I forget that? Meng Lei smacked his forehead with some frustration. He had almost forgotten that no matter how much wealth each godly clan had amassed, they could not be compared to divinity crystal mines and magic crystal mines. The 10 divine realms and the supreme celestial realm had countless mines, and if they were fully mined, Meng Lei could no longer sit still as he ordered. Hades and the Grim Reaper King, mine all of them immediately. Oh, and gather all the demon grandmasters. They will take charge of mining and collecting the wealth from hell, the abyss, and the demon realm. Will you complete this task? You have our guarantee. The supreme god of the underworld and the Grim Reaper King answered and left immediately. And you too? Meng Lei looked toward the Life Dominus and Death Dominus. I'm sending both of you back to the celestial realm. Do you need me to tell you what to do? The Life Dominus and Death Dominus nodded their heads repeatedly. We know what to do, Master. Great. Meng Lei sent the 2 juggernauts back to the celestial realm while he traveled to the 10 major divine realms as he prepared for mining the divinity crystal mines over there. Demon grandmasters were alive in hell, the abyss, and the demon realm. Under the command of the supreme god of the underworld and the Grim Reaper King, these demon grandmasters would not dare to defy orders. They would surely work on mining in those realms diligently. The 10 major divine realms were different since all the chief gods were dead. So Meng Lei had to do it himself. His method of extraction was simple. Find the mine, then use his special ability of teleportation. In a short instant, the ore deep beneath the ground was teleported out through Meng Lei. It was simple and much faster and efficient than having chief gods do the job. Meng Lei arrived in the Thunderbolt Divine Realm as his first destination. After 2 days, every single mine in the Thunderbolt Divine Realm got emptied by Meng Lei. After checking on the extra 700 Supreme Divinity Crystal in his stats interface, Meng Lei could not help but laugh. As I've expected, true riches come from mines. In the next half a month, Meng Lei went to the 9 other divine realms to extract from more mines. On average, he would obtain 700 to 800 Supreme Divinity Crystals from every divine realm. When he finally finished, Meng Lei obtained a grand total of over 7,000 Supreme Divinity Crystals, adding to the 2,500 Supreme Divinity Crystals from before. His wealth had grown to a stunning 10,000 Supreme Divinity Crystals as he got closer to 100,000 that he needed. If the 10 major divine realms can bring me 10,000 Supreme Divinity Crystals, I wonder how many more can they mine from the Supreme Celestial Realm? Hope it isn't disappointing. Meng Lei was full of anticipation as he went to the supreme celestial realm. Yet, the life dominus and death dominus were still mining, prompting Meng Lei to join in. The supreme celestial realm did not disappoint. The size of its mine reserves and the number of mines were simply incomparable to the 10 major divine realms. They mined for another 2 months before they were finally done. After 3 months of hard work, the reward was gratifying as Meng Lei earned a total of 130,000 supreme divinity crystals. 130,000. That was crazy. This meant that Meng Lei's wealth had reached a staggering 140,000 crystals. System. By credit for the destiny laws of nature. 100,000 supreme divinity crystals were gone. At the same time, a stunning torrent of data rushed into his divine spirit like a breached dam. Immediately after, Meng Lei's divine spirit entered a magical world. Countless information of destinies intertwined. Countless destiny laws of nature in perfect harmony. Countless destiny runes danced around. This was the destiny world, or rather, the destiny origin world. It contained every destiny laws of nature and the ultimate comprehension of destiny. Meng Lei did not need to spend too much time comprehending these, as they rushed into Meng Lei's divine spirit, allowing him to learn and master quickly. What's going on with our master? Seeing that Meng Lei was sitting down cross-legged all of a sudden, the life dominus and death dominus were rather startled. He was fine just a while ago. What's going on? It seems like our master has somehow progressed and broken through. Broke through? Another breakthrough. They could not find any more words to describe this man. How did he break through to another level when he was already that powerful? How powerful would he become after breaking through to the next level? Although they had tons of questions in their minds, the life dominus and death dominus did not dare to idle as they surveyed the surroundings to prevent any disturbance to Meng Lei. Just as Meng Lei was busy with his comprehension of the destiny laws of nature, there was a dark fissure in the central region of the universe. It looked like a scar engraved on the void. It also seemed like a giant mouth of a monster that could devour any life forms. This fissure was the dark abyss. No one knew how it came to be, no less what was exactly inside the depths of the dark abyss. All they knew was that it was an extremely cold, treacherous, and deathly silent domain. Even chief gods would not dare to enter. This day, a gray skeleton suddenly appeared at the edge of the dark abyss before disappearing into the fissure. The dark abyss was bottomless, and its visibility was zero. There were not even any references inside, which made it simple to lose one's way within. However, the gray skeleton seemed to be familiar with the place as it traveled toward the deepest part of the dark abyss. After traveling for some time, the gray skeleton finally stopped as it gazed at the empty dark void around him. "Darkness, my old friend, why don't you show yourself?" There was no response from the dark void, but the gray skeleton waited quietly with patience. After quite a while, 2 gigantic red suns appeared abruptly in the empty void. Wait, those were not suns. They were 2 blood-red eyes. The pair of huge blood-colored eyes was gleaming with a bewitching blood-red glow, and a deep, hoarse voice came across. "Old skeleton, your days are limited. Why didn't you live freely before the arrival of death and instead came here?" "Hee, I want to, but someone won't allow that." The gray skeleton shook its head as it spoke. "Never mind that, I'll get straight to the point. A powerful being was born during this era with nothing known about him, but he's capable of surpassing a supreme god. You should know what this means." Hey. Did you come all the way here just to joke with me?" "Old skeleton," Darkness said mockingly. "It's not even halfway past this era, so how is it possible for an expert like this to be born at this stage, and even surpass a supreme god?" It's all true." The gray skeleton did not waste any time to say everything about Meng Lei. When he finished, Darkness fell silent. "Although we don't fear him, his growth speed is too alarming. When this era comes to an end, who knows what he'll become?" The gray skeleton said, "We must kill him, or else we'll be gone in this era." "Old skeleton, I'm different from you. I still have the next era," Darkness said slowly. "Next era?" The gray skeleton sneered as he spoke in a tone full of mockery. By the time he finally refines this universe's origin energy to become the Lord of the universe, do you think the great reincarnation and destruction process will still happen then? You're awake, Master? The Life Dominus and Death Dominus looked at Meng Lei at the same time. However, once their eyes met, a jolt ran through them as if they became obsessed. Their consciousness went blank and drifted away for quite a while until they eventually regained their senses. What happened? The two juggernauts exchanged a look and saw the alarm in each other's eyes. Meng Lei let out a long pent-up breath while he could hardly stay calm. He would never have understood the profound meaning within the destiny laws of nature if he did not spend his wealth. Complete mastery of the destiny laws of nature was another level compared to comprehension of the tip of the iceberg. Previously, he could enter the void of destiny to see the destiny lines of lifeforms and cut them, meaning he could cut off their destiny and kill them instantly. This time, Meng Lei could do much more than that. He could change the direction of every destiny line and change the destiny of life itself. He could see destiny lines from every existential plane, including the celestial realm and the netherworld, to control their destiny. He could see that the lines of destiny were not independent of each other as they originated from the same place. In fact, every line of destiny originated from there as well. Meng Lei could not tell where it was, but he believed that it should be the place that contained the universe's origin energy, which the Destruction Dominus was longing for. Destiny laws of nature are simply magical. Now, changing someone's destiny feels like a mere thought away. Alright, time to try it out. Meng Lei found Pahamon's line of destiny and began to view Pahamon's destiny. One's destiny had countless possibilities. The slightest tweak would cause an immense ripple effect on that destiny. Pahamon's destiny was the same, with many different possible futures. Meng Lei found the best future among them. Pahamon successfully assimilated the chief god divine core to become a chief god of the earth divine realm, living a lofty and carefree life until the end of the era. This destiny was the best of the lot, but Meng Lei was not satisfied with it. Only a chief god all your life? What a good-for-nothing. Hence, Meng Lei broke off other unrelated destiny lines until one remained. The result was that Pahamon would eventually comprehend the destruction laws of nature and the death laws of nature to become a supreme god. He had basically locked Pahamon's destiny as it was no longer full of other possibilities. Pahamon would follow this path Meng Lei left for him to comprehend the destruction laws of nature and the death laws of nature, until he would become a supreme god. After that, Meng Lei started to change the destinies of others and wiped off those needless destiny lines. After a series of adjustments, all of his subordinates could comprehend at least 2 supreme laws of nature to become a juggernaut at the very least. Now, this is how to use the destiny laws of nature. Meng Lei let out a long breath. It was an unimaginable feat to change the fate of others. After all, immediately after, Meng Lei looked at the 2 juggernauts. Let's go to the netherworld. Yes, Master. Meng Lei located the destiny line of the supreme god of the underworld to lock onto his position before he teleported with the 2 juggernauts. Master! The supreme god of the underworld bowed upon the sight of his master. Meanwhile, 23 demon grandmasters were busy with the excavation in the mines. There were a total of 46 demon grandmasters in the netherworld. To mine every magic crystals here, he had assembled all 23 demon grandmasters under his charge to help. Despite that, 2 months had passed, and they had not completed the mining, a stark contrast to Meng Lei's mining speed. Not finished yet? Meng Lei broke into a slight frown. Not yet, Master. The supreme god of the underworld shook his head. Bring me what you have extracted so far. Hades presented the spatial ring hurriedly. After collecting the crystals in the ring, Meng Lei obtained another 60,000 supreme divinity crystals, which added up to a total of over 100,000 supreme divinity crystals. Tisk TSK. 100,000 supreme divinity crystals. Meng Lei remarked before giving out some instructions to Hades and left afterward. Who's that, Lord Hades? A group of demon grandmasters surrounded him as shock and puzzlement filled their eyes. How could Lord Hades refer to him as Master? Master of Lord Hades? What kind of joke was that? Don't ask questions that you shouldn't be asking. The supreme god of the underworld gave a cold stare at his demon grandmasters. A chill went up to their spines as they went back to work in the mines. Meng Lei found the Grim Reaper King and obtained around 50,000 supreme divinity crystals from him. It added up to his wealth to a whooping 150,000 supreme divinity crystals. It's 150,000 supreme divinity crystals already. Meng Lei read his stats interface. I can buy credit for another Genesis Laws of Nature, but it's just a pity that there isn't any for me to do it now. How frustrating. Never mind. Time to enhance my divine spirit first. Ding! The host's divine spirit is currently comparable to a supreme Juggernaut's and will rival that of a supreme god of the universe after enhancement. Enhancement cost is estimated at 5,000 supreme divinity crystals. The system asked coldly, "Will you enhance it?" "Yes, enhance it." Boom! A cool energy wave surged into his sea of consciousness as if a celestial river was pouring down into his divine spirit flame. For a while, the divine spirit flame that was suspended in the boundless sea of consciousness exploded into a ferocious flame that kept on growing. 2 times, 10 times, 100 times, 200 times, 600 times, 1,000 times, 3,000 times, 7,000 times, 10,000 times. The divine spirit flame grew by 10,000 times until the end of the enhancement process. After that, it did not expand further as it collapsed suddenly and shrunk madly toward its center. 10% to 1%, 0.1% to 0.01%. The divine spirit flame continued to shrink, but at the same time, it was like a supernova explosion that released ravaging energy waves on a colossal scale. Boom! The raging energy waves ravaged their surroundings as a super hurricane was formed. It was fortunate that there was no form of life in the sea of consciousness, as it would have completely wiped out everything in its path, and nothing could survive the terrifying hurricane. 0.001% to 0.0001%. 0.00001% to 0.00001%. The divine spirit flame kept shrinking as if there was no end to it. In a matter of seconds, it had shrunk from the size of 1 million kilometers to the size of a taxi, then to the size of a basketball, size of a pomelo, size of an orange, size of a walnut. Finally, the divine spirit flame became a little black spot that was almost invisible to the naked eye. Just when Meng Lei thought that his divine spirit was going to disappear, a black hole appeared in his sea of consciousness. Immediately after, the black hole expanded at the speed of light, from 100 meters to 10 million kilometers to, with that, a boundless black hole spanning across the sea of consciousness created a terrifying gravitational pull that could devour anything just like the black hole from reality. My divine spirit fire just became a black hole? Meng Lei stood in the boundless sea of consciousness as he gazed at that black hole with a dazed look. A divine spirit can turn into a black hole? What kind of plot is this? Although he was baffled, Meng Lei felt nothing of discomfort. The only difference was that his divine spirit had become immensely compressed with power, while his mind worked faster than a supercomputer with innumerable thoughts flashing across his mind. My divine spirit, it's powerful. Meng Lei left the sea of consciousness and released his divine cognition that covered the entire netherworld in just a few short breaths. Meng Lei saw demons killing each other and the vast skeleton sea. His divine cognition continued expanding until it reached the void beyond the netherworld. He saw countless meteors and floating continents. He saw dozens of material planes near the netherworld. He saw, at that moment, Meng Lei was still pretty relaxed, meaning he was more than capable of expanding his divine cognition further out. He chose not to as he retrieved his divine cognition. So this is how a supreme god of the universe's divine spirit feels like. That's unbelievable. A sharp glint flashed across Meng Lei's eyes as he could not hide his joy. Moreover, he found another benefit of strengthening his divine spirit. It made it easier for him to control the destiny laws of nature. If Meng Lei was like a 3-year-old playing with a hammer previously, he was now an adult using a wedge properly. Simple and relaxed. Easy and smooth. This feels awesome. Meng Lei took a long breath and looked at those around him. Only then did he realize that the life dominus, death dominus, and the Grim Reaper King were all on the ground, trembling like timid mice. What's going on? Meng Lei was puzzled. Master, your divine spirit force is too powerful. The life dominus quivered as she said, "WEC can't breathe." Oh, Meng Lei came to a realization. Please excuse me. I accidentally broke through to the next level just now, and I didn't suppress my aura. The life dominus and death dominus rolled their eyes as they had a strong urge to curse. On the other hand, the Grim Reaper King was in shock and was glad that he had not fought Meng Lei previously. He would have died a horrible death if he had done so. The aura alone was powerful enough. What would then be the extent of Meng Lei's true capability? Meng Lei had no time to care about their thoughts as he gazed at the vast netherworld, revealing a smile suddenly. Since my divine cognition can cover the entire netherworld, why not conduct some good old plundering? Thus, Meng Lei released his divine cognition once again. Whoosh! In an instant, Meng Lei's divine cognition shrouded the entire netherworld and activated his transferability. Immediately after, the life dominus and the rest saw something amazing. Golden rain started falling from the sky. Gold was everywhere. There were stacks of gold coins, chunks of gold nuggets, various gold products. What's going on? The three juggernauts were stupefied. After half a minute, gold piled upon the earth they stood on, spanning an area of hundreds of billion square kilometers and a height of several thousands of kilometers. The gold mountain dazzled and almost blinded the three juggernauts' eyes. Gold was a mere ordinary object that was worthless to the juggernauts. Still, despite having seen all kinds of scenes, the three juggernauts had never seen such a gigantic mountain made up of gold objects. Collect! Meng Lei was satisfied with the gold mountain as he collected it into the system storage space. After that were the laws of nature origin crystals, then the divinity crystals, and finally the divinity crystal ores. At last, Meng Lei ransacked every piece of gold, laws of nature origin crystals, divinity crystals, demonic crystals there were in the netherworld. Other than the special planes that divine cognition could not detect, he had truly plundered everything. Thus, the haul was incredible. Meng Lei obtained 167,000 supreme divinity crystals. On top of the previous 14,500 crystals, his wealth had grown to 181,500 supreme divinity crystals. Wealth. 181,500 supreme divinity crystals, that was simply unimaginable. Hence, it was evident that true wealth neither lay in the treasuries of each godly clans nor lay in the mines. It was in the pockets of the trillions of ordinary citizens. That was the meaning of hiding wealth among the people. So this means that the celestial realm and the 10 divine realms should have much more wealth waiting to be collected. Meng Lei's eyes glinted sharply. However, Meng Lei sensed a familiar aura appearing in the air not far away at that moment. Meng Lei looked over there and saw a slight ripple in the air as a gray skeleton appeared gradually. Its grayish will-o'-the-wisp fluttered along with the wind while it stared at Meng Lei. Destruction Dominus. Meng Lei raised an eyebrow. Such an aura. He's the life dominus, death dominus, and the Grim Reaper King's expressions dramatically changed when they noticed the gray skeleton and its terrifying aura. Aren't you going to kill me, little one? The gray skeleton's skull opened and closed its mouth. Come get me if you're good enough. After that, the gray skeleton disappeared in thin air. Humph! A boring trick of a feigned retreat. Meng Lei smiled and followed casually. Let's follow them too. The three juggernauts exchanged a look. Though they had many reservations, they began to catch up nevertheless. The gray skeleton flew in front, while Meng Lei strolled behind while the distance between them remained the same. The speed was not too fast as the three juggernauts could keep up easily. Soon they flew out of the netherworld and into the void. The gray skeleton quickened its pace all of a sudden while Meng Lei followed suit. This time, the three juggernauts could no longer keep up despite their best efforts as they got thrown off quickly. Meng Lei, wait! Moro stopped Meng Lei. This is the dark abyss. The gray skeleton purposefully lured you here. This should be one of his schemes. This is the dark abyss? Meng Lei raised his brows. It's actually my first time here. The dark abyss is extremely deep and dangerous. I advise you not to go in case you fall into the gray skeleton's traps. It took the effort to lure me here. If I don't go in, wouldn't it disappoint? Meng Lei shook his head slightly and went right into the dark abyss. He wasn't afraid of any schemes. In the face of absolute strength, any calculation and schemes were useless. Such was Meng Lei's confidence. All right, be careful then. Seeing that his advice was in vain, Moro advised no more. After entering the dark abyss, his eyes suddenly went black, and he fell into absolute darkness. Without any object for reference, Meng Lei had no idea where to go. Fortunately, the gray skeleton's ghostly fire flickered and provided the sole source of light in the dark that guided Meng Lei to go forward. He went all the way in, and the surroundings got darker and darker, quieter and quieter, colder and colder, while the energy of the living world became thinner and thinner. Most crucially, laws of nature became thinner and thinner, including even supreme laws of nature. After an unknown period, the gray skeleton suddenly stopped, turned back, and looked at Meng Lei. Meng Lei smiled and said, "Not advancing further? There's no need to keep going deeper." The gray skeleton's mouth opened and closed, letting out a shrieking, weird peal of laughter. "You are really bold. You clearly knew that I was luring you, yet you still dared to follow. If you were a tiger, of course, I would have to be cautious. A pity that you're not." Meng Lei shook his head. "You are at most a sheep." "A sheep?" The gray skeleton let out a few weird peals of laughter, not angered. "One can't know whether someone is a tiger or a sheep without a fight. Isn't it so?" "That's true." Meng Lei didn't argue. "Call for people. Call out all your help. Let me see what you old fossils are capable of. Before I kill you, please allow me to introduce this place to you. This is called the Dark Abyss. It is what remained of the battlefield after the descent of the great reincarnation and destruction process of the last era." The gray skeleton smiled and said, "Although this place was mended over by the laws of nature after the new era arrived, the remnant laws of nature were too thick that even the new era couldn't erase them. Thus, this place eventually evolved into this." "I see." Meng Lei nodded slightly. "A battlefield that even the new era can't repair. I can imagine how horrifying the battle back then must be for you all." "Of course." The gray skeleton smiled and said, "In order to stop me from snatching the universe's origin energy during that battle, all the experts of the last era were mobilized. A grand total of 9 supreme gods and 43 supreme dominus. They eventually successfully stopped me. At the price of their lives. 9 supreme gods and 43 supreme dominus." Meng Lei couldn't help but exclaim, "The powerhouses of the last era were really good." "The last era was special." The gray skeleton explained. "In the middle period of that era, the carcass of a creature from the outer universe unexpectedly appeared in our universe. T-carcass led to the great evolution of species in the last era. That's the reason 9 supreme gods and 43 supreme dominuses appeared in that era." "Carcass of a creature from the outer universe?" Meng Lei's entire body shook violently. "So there are really other creatures outside this universe?" "Supposedly so." The gray skeleton nodded slightly. "I'm not sure what exactly it is like outside the universe. Even someone as strong as I am can't live outside of the universe. But this carcass can indeed reflect the situation outside the universe to a certain extent." Meng Lei continued asking, "What happened to that carcass?" "Naturally, it was divided," the gray skeleton said, laughing. "After obtaining the carcass, the strength of many experts of the last era improved rapidly. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been able to stop me." "Then your luck is really bad." Meng Lei couldn't help but smile. "My luck has always been terrible," the gray skeleton sighed. "In the last era, I was ruined by the carcass of that creature, and in this era, a freak like you appeared. I'm probably the most unlucky being in the whole universe." "You are very unlucky indeed," Meng Lei chuckled. "But this is my final chance." The gray skeleton's tone suddenly grew cold. "I will not give up no matter what. I will definitely not allow anyone to ruin my plan." Finally, The main topic after so much random chatter. Meng Lei flicked his fingers. To be honest, I would very much like to see what horrifying means you, who have lived for 2 eras, have. You will see. Attack! Roared the gray skeleton. Buzz. Right after it finished speaking, a strange wave of laws of nature suddenly filled the entire void. This wave was very strange. It was an entirely new type of laws of nature, and it was at a very high level, completely surpassing supreme laws of nature to reach another level. Meng Lei was certain that these were Genesis laws of nature. He couldn't sense which type of Genesis laws of nature it was, but he could be certain that it was definitely not Destiny laws of nature. Meng Lei, this is Order laws of nature, Moro yelled. Be careful of the powers of the Order. Order laws of nature. Meng Lei's heart chilled. This is the Order laws of nature. Little fellow, did you feel it? The gray skeleton started laughing strangely. At the same time, its aura suddenly increased, and it surpassed the level of Supreme Dominus to reach the level of Supreme God. Lower level Supreme God. Mid-level Supreme God. Upper level Supreme God. Perfect Supreme God. Boom! The gray skeleton's aura finally reached the level of a perfect Supreme God, and a terrible power of suppression erupted, sweeping in all directions madly. Even Meng Lei felt unprecedented terrible pressure. This is exactly the feeling. This is exactly the feeling. The gray skeleton laughed. Little fellow, did you know? The new era is very unfriendly to us, the old era's remnants. We can't consume the energy of heaven and earth, can't mobilize the laws of nature, can't cultivate to strengthen ourselves, and our strength is continuously suppressed at the level of Dominus. It is the universal order, or in other words, the order laws of nature. Luckily, this is the dark abyss, the place where the universal order is the weakest. Furthermore, the presence of darkness laws of nature directly cancels out the weak universal order. I am not suppressed now. My strength has completely returned to its peak condition. Perfect Supreme God. The gray skeleton looked at Meng Lei, laughed weirdly and said, Little fellow, do you feel the chill? Do you feel the fear? Do you feel scared? Meng Lei rolled his eyes before asking, Just now you mentioned the darkness laws of nature, so that means your other companion is called Darkness, and he comprehended the laws of nature? You! The gray skeleton was a bit angry upon seeing that Meng Lei completely disregarded it. Instead, he was more interested in darkness. Little fellow, you will pay a heavy and tragic price for your rudeness and pride. Yet Meng Lei paid him no heed at all. Destiny laws of nature spread out and filled the dark abyss instantly. Since the so-called darkness released the order laws of nature, he must be near. Find him. He had to find him. Gotcha! A sharp light flashed across Meng Lei's eyes, and he disappeared right where he was. When he reappeared, he was already deeper in the dark abyss, in front of a gargantuan creature. This was a giant looking somewhat like a dragon and also a snake. It had the head, horns, and wings of a giant dragon, a serpent-like body that was covered in black dragon scales. Its body was tens of light years long, several times larger than even a mid-level existential plane. Void beast. Dark beast. Moro's voice sounded. No. This aura. It's him. It's that guy. He's actually also not dead. That guy. Meng Lei raised his brows. Moro, you know this guy? If I didn't sense wrongly, he is probably a friend of mine. Dark Lord. Moro flew out of the Tower of Time, condensed into a ball of black shadow, and stared at the black behemoth in front of him. Darkness, is it you? Moro. The Dark Lord spoke, making a thunder-like boom. It's really you. Moro immediately showed a trace of a smile. I didn't expect you were also alive. I had already said, back then, you were the strongest of us all. How could you possibly die off easily? Moro, this is not the time to catch up. Dark Lord's voice rang like a huge bell. Join us and get rid of this guy first. No. Darkness, you can't associate yourself with that schemer. Moro shook his head immediately. Did you forget? If not for that bast *RD, we wouldn't have met such a tragic end. You should be dealing with him, not Meng Lei. Moro, our era has passed. And now we are deadly suppressed by the new era, neither human nor ghost, without hope or an endpoint, only living out our pathetic lives hiding in a dark, remote corner. The Dark Lord said slowly, "If we let this continue, we are not only going to have to stick around until the end of this era, but also until the end of the next era before we can finally end this tragic life in the shadows." Moro fell silent. Just like darkness said, the era belonging to them had ended. Under the suppression of the new era, they had no more hope to speak of. To change all this, we can only integrate the universe's origin energy, become the Lord of the universe, and then rewrite the universal order. The Dark Lord continued, "Moro, this is our only chance. Do you understand? Darkness." "I understand everything you said." Moro smiled bitterly. "But you won't succeed. Even if you join forces with this damn skeleton, you won't beat Meng Lei. He is the one who has the greatest chance of ending the great reincarnation and destruction process. Darkness, listen to me and turn back now. Moro, after all you've said, you would rather follow a little mortal than join forces with me?" The Dark Lord's voice turned colder. "You are doing what you clearly know can't be done. You are basically looking for your own death." Moro sighed. "Then say no more," the Dark Lord said coldly. "Bow at the feet of your little master all you like. I will kill him myself." "Kill me yourself?" Meng Lei spoke, somewhat disdainful. "With only the half-baked order laws of nature you have? Little thing, accept your death," roared the Dark Lord. A pair of bloody irises larger than a star shone with a monstrous bloody light, and roaring waves of order surrounded Meng Lei. "I say, in front of me, laws of nature must disappear. I say, you will be imprisoned by endless darkness." Following the Dark Lord's words, Meng Lei just felt that the already weak laws of nature disappeared instantly, including even the supreme laws of nature. Right afterward, an unknown restricting force came from the darkness all around him and squeezed onto Meng Lei instantly. Meng Lei struggled slightly and realized that this restrictive force was very strong, and he actually couldn't untangle himself from it. "This is the order laws of nature?" Meng Lei was astonished. This was the first time he felt the powers of the order laws of nature. Maybe order laws of nature didn't have direct destructive power. Instead, they could change the laws. For example, fire could burn one to death. But after using order laws of nature, fire could freeze one to death. For example, force was the reason objects changed their state of movement. After using the order laws of nature, force wouldn't be able to change the object's state of movement. One could say that the universal order was omnipresent. It ruled everything in the entire vast universe. How the universal order was made would determine the shape of the universe, whether it was planetary and existential plane, a technological civilization, or a magical civilization. This showed the powerfulness of the order laws of nature. The dark behemoth spoke again. "I say, you will be devoured by boundless darkness." Meng Lei immediately felt an extraordinary force come from the darkness, madly devouring his life force. The darkness originally couldn't imprison a person, much less devour the life force of a person, but after the order laws of nature's changes, it was given imprisonment and devouring properties. This was how powerful order laws of nature were. They could change the existing laws of nature and make new rules. Such good order laws of nature. Meng Lei looked at the Dark Lord in excitement. "Dark Lord, your order laws of nature are really awe-inspiring. It's a pity, though." "What pity?" asked the Dark Lord coldly. "A pity that in the next second, they will be mine." Meng Lei chuckled and was about to order the system to plunder when a huge red ball of light suddenly fell from the Dark Lord's body. The system's cue tone sounded along with it. "Ding! Dropped item discovered. Will you pick it up?" Meng Lei was taken aback. "Pick it up." "Ding! Pickup successful. You have obtained a Laws of Nature fragment. Will you assimilate it?" Laws of Nature fragment? Could it be? A mild jolt went through Meng Lei as a huge wave of information instantly rushed into his mind. Meng Lei gathered his thoughts and began to digest it quickly. After his comprehension, Meng Lei showed a smile.